So I'm still debating on whether or not I should wait and get an iPhone 16 or an iPhone 17. My phone, I guess you'd said it's called planned obsolescence.
Planned obsolescence.
My phone is sketching out like you wouldn't believe. Like I would type something and it would go bold, and then it would have like this feature which I don't even know how I'm turning on, but it actually like makes it bold and then it makes the text pop out and like pulse out like 3D. It was crazy. I can't use my notes section because it's kind of like using a typewriter where I type all this stuff and the computer starts to catch up like one letter at a time while I'm typing. It doesn't hold a charge. It does some crazy, crazy stuff. I'll be here all day. So I need a new phone. I hate this that I have to do this, but I have to get a new phone. Now the 16's been out for a couple of months. It looks exactly the same. I'm not noticing anything that remarkable. Should I just wait it out and get the iPhone 17?
The iPhone 16 is mostly internal upgrades. It's definitely better processor. It has their new Bionic engine, so it can run the Apple Intelligence features on the device itself.
I don't know what Apple Intelligence features are.
They've now integrated with ChatGPT, so Siri is able to get information directly from ChatGPT, which is one of the best human language models that is able to answer questions. Like you could ask Siri a question before and she wouldn't really understand because you have to be very specific or it has to be worded correctly. This is a ChatGPT you could ask in human ways, like when is Saturn in view from Earth? And it can give you a sentence like a human responding.
Yeah, I never do any of that stuff. So you're almost convincing me not to do that because the more they evolve, the more complicated it's going to be for me to use because I hate all that. I never ask Siri or Deb or Margaret or anything, anybody, anything. You know what I mean? Even humans, I tend to not want to ask them because I don't like what they're going to say back.
Yeah. You can turn it off. I mean, that's one of the main selling points. They didn't really do much physically to the phone. On the outside, inside it gets new processor, bigger batteries.
Okay. All right.
And
so 17,
the ability to run.
Yeah. Okay. So 17, because it sounds like
and
maybe
17. Yeah. Hopefully they get rid of that notch at the top that we've been stuck with for years.
The notch. The notch is the little thing right there.
Yeah. The annoying little bar on the top that blocks your screen.
And I did Google it this morning and it said it's going to be like air, like it's going to be thinner.
If you get, you don't have a Pro model, right?
God, no, this is an XS. This is
okay. Yeah. So no, yeah.
I don't know what model.
You probably want to get a Pro though, because they usually put like the latest features, the best.
Light. This is too heavy. I mean, it's got the waterproof cover and all that, but it's heavy for me now. I feel like I'm getting arthritis. Anyway, okay.
I mean, there is a chance that we get the iPhone Pro, and then iPhone Air. There is a chance that the iPhone Air will actually be introduced because they've added an Air.
Yeah.
The iPads, there was always the Mac Air, but iPad got it, so that's an iOS device. So it's expected that soon enough there will be a lightweight.
Okay.
iPhone.
All right. Thank you for that. So it's the 17. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to suck it up for 7 or 8 more months with this crap.
A little heavier, and you get a Pro model, and you get all the like next gen features, like the 16 Pro this year. All of the features on that, like the better battery life, the better camera, will come to the regular 17 model. And the 17 Pro will have features that will next come to the 18 regular models. So the Pro is the best of the best for that year that will come to the lower price versions the next year.
Do I really need all those bells and whistles? Let's face it.
We were talking about basically future-proofing your phone. So you would be good for like 4 to 5 years, hopefully. And with new EU regulations, it's possible this new iPhone will have a replaceable battery. Because the EU is not going to allow phone makers to sell phones without replaceable batteries anymore. Because that's one of the biggest things. Once your phone starts draining, you have to charge it 3 times a day.
Oh, I do already.
You will upgrade.
Yeah.
And
they do it deliberately.
It's right to repair.
They can sell you
right
more
to repair is what it's called.
Down with. So I'd love to dump them, but where we live, AT&T has the best cover. It's a problem.
Yeah,
I don't know where to shop. Like, where does a decent person safely shop anymore for their values? So, I mean, I hate Home Depot and Lowe's anyways, but you can't shop there. Ace Hardware even gave to Trump and to Project 2025. And by the way, again, this is not it's not a political podcast. It's not an anti-Trump podcast, but I'm on the side of right and I'm on the side of justice and decency. And Project 2025, I'm not down with that. So I can't shop at a place that's given even a cent to that kind of shit. So where do people, like, is there a place where people can look up, like, how to shop with their values? It's kind of crazy. Like Target now ended their diversity programs. Walmart did months ago. Like, so I had to dump Walmart. I can't shop at, what was the biggest one, the first one to kind of go down? Oh, Amazon. Like, I try to give Amazon as least amount of business as I possibly can. If I was Jeff Bezos, I wouldn't be doing it. I would want, I'd already be the second richest guy in the world, have all this power and clout. Do I really need more? Do I really need to contribute to more greed and to make sure that person that's now, in charge of the United States do I really have to stay in that person's like good orbit? Like to the point where I am doing something that I don't think is correct and right? Like, do people just lose all of their, integrity and all of their ability to judge what's right and wrong in this world? Like, that's what I'm so like, I don't know if I'm depressed or what, but since the election, since like all this crazy stuff is happening on the daily, I have been losing my faith in humanity. I'm just like, I don't understand it. Like, really? Like,
I think that's part of the point of the system though. Like, we get fed up and we start to give up and we start to lose attention and care for involving ourselves in the system because we feel like it's so rigged against us, normal people. And you get disenfranchised from the system. Like, that is the whole point.
I know, but there's people in the system that get elected because they say, hey, I'm going to do things and I'm going to change things and I'm going to fix it, like even Trump. But I have a feeling that, in fact, I will bet on it right now that immigration, homelessness, crime, it will all be as big a problem or worse in 4 years. Despite all of like ICE raids and all of Trump's bluster, I have a feeling it's going to be 10 times, maybe not 10 times worse, but I would bet it would be as bad or worse despite all of his empty promises to fix anything. 100%. And all the people that voted for him, I think are going to be like, in the end, but still probably vote for him again if given the chance, even though he's not legally supposed to serve another term.
Yeah, thankfully we're done after this. He's not going to change that.
They're already trying to change that.
I know people think that, but they said that about Obama too, that he would run forever. Like, my parents were like, Obama's never going to leave office. Manpower.
I'm glad you brought that up because there's so many people in people's lives that vote against the values of the people they care about most. Their sons, their kids, their brother-in-law, their best friend. So many, and now I'm seeing like the people that didn't step up and say something to their mom, for instance, who was a big trumpet, and say, look, I'm not going to talk to you if that's how it's going to be because you're voting against my actual rights that can affect my whole family and my like livelihood. And so now they're all saying, oh, I'm going to cut people off. You should have cut people off before so that there's consequences. That's what I'm realizing now is that you have to have consequences. You have to have a society, even if it's your own little micro society, that people follow the rules and can be honest and talk about things. Those families that are like, well, I don't talk about politics ever because I just want to keep the peace. Well, that's not real love. That's not a real family. That's called fake. Yeah. That's called, I need to be still in my box, maybe in the closet, maybe not closeted, but I can't fight for any of my rights or what I believe in because you're going to argue with me and we're going to get in a big fight. And I don't want to, I give up the fight because I want to stay in your good graces. I still want to keep, let's say it's somebody's mom, I still want my mom and dad, so I'm not going to fight you on this. But then they turn around when they realize, oh shit, all these people voted in a bunch of people that are going to take all this stuff away from me. Is it too late? Shouldn't you have done that before so that they say, hey, I'm not going to lose my son because I want these immigrants out of my country. I'm going to vote for my son. But they don't do that.
No, and I feel like it's mostly because we pick like a politician over actual politics. Like on subjects like Medicare for all and free college, or student loan forgiveness, we mostly agree, like the majority of people agree that these things should have been implemented. But if you like,
Didn't
at a
Biden
wedding I was at
try?
recently, what? For
He
forgiveness?
he tried to implement it even in his last days in office, was trying to get another couple of million people forgiven, and it was kiboshed by Republicans.
The people that he forgave mostly would have been forgiven anyway. He just forgave them early. It's like, we have a income-driven repayment program, and it's like people were paying for years and years, but if like you missed one of the payments, it restarts. So you're not eligible for that, and you have to make 10 more years.
Another way the system sets those people up for failure.
Yeah, and it's usually people who can't afford to make the payments anyway.
I think the problem is that we're still like in Democrats, we're still in that mode of like establishment and politicians, and for Republicans, it's still they're actually right now, in my mind, winning because they use that anti-establishment, but even they're not realizing that because the person's a celebrity, they're going to get the votes. Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, great examples. So they've got that person in, but the Republican Party in general, I think, isn't realizing that they're actually doubling down on establishment because those people may not be core political establishment, but they are themselves an establishment. They're that powerful and that ingrained in certain things like fossil fuels and, anti-climate change, anti-snowflake, anti-immigration, anti-crime. I don't see Trump coming up with anything because right now he's trying to jack up the system so bad that him and his cronies get so rich and get so powerful that we may never go back. His focus is not on immigration right now. His focus is not on crime. His focus is on him.
Yeah.
And that's what all the people that voted for him they don't understand. Now, to a lesser degree, Democratic politicians are the same way. And in some Democratic stronghold, like in places like in New York and unfortunately also in California, there's this complacency. There's this like, well, we're not Republicans, so it's all good. Well, no. You still should be doing your job, and you're not. And you're just like every other politician who's dishonest and who's corrupt and who's saying all the right things. You get in office and nothing changes.
Exactly.
So really, who's in the right here? Like, yes, I don't believe in almost anything that Trump believes in. And certainly I'm not impressed that he's not able to get anything really robust done that's going to help America. Not one thing.
No.
Not one thing. And that is what I have such a big problem with, is that we don't have, like, I don't know if it's a third party because we may never have that, but if we as Democrats or as a country can unite and figure out a better way to do politics with non-politicians, I'd love to hear it.
If ranked choice voting would fix pretty much everything.
But you have to have people in power that put that in place. And if the two parties are always going to be in power, that will never happen. That's a pipe dream, like having peace in the Middle East.
Actually, some states have already implemented ranked choice voting, and the great thing about it is, like you had said before, I'm checking while I keep talking, so I'm silent.
It's hard to check and talk.
But you were saying before that, like, voting for a third party feels like throwing away your choice. Well, with ranked choice voting, right now, it feels like it. Again, they need a certain percentage to even be recognized and get funding for federal campaigns.
But it wouldn't change anything because they'll never get elected. You can't get elected on 3 or 4%. That's the problem.
But because the sentiment is there. But with ranked choice voting, you can put your values-based candidate, the candidate you most align with, first, and then the safer choices. So even if your person that your values align with gets knocked out in the first round, you have someone else safe in the second round that you are okay with, you didn't necessarily like, but at least you got to vote your values first.
I'm just so bummed out that those were our choices in the last election, was Kamala and Donald Trump, who is a convicted criminal. I think that's my biggest rub, is that right now we have criminals in our government and it's now commonplace. Now it's accepted. Like, him being a criminal and doing the things that he did, again, all of it's like, some of it has been proven in court, but we're just always going to use the asterisk of alleged. But like sexual crimes, corporate crimes, he was convicted of those for sure. Not to mention all the other things that we don't even know about because it's been squashed or hidden in the catacombs, or has been, somebody paid him off. I mean, how many thousands of lawsuits has he had over the years where he screwed over like this little guy who's got a small business and owns a trucking company and hadn't been paid for deliveries. He squeezes them out and tries to pay 10 cents on the dollar. What about all that? So we have that kind of a person, literally a criminal, in the White House, and some of the people around him are also. Did that Pete Hegsworth? Did he get confirmed?
Yes,
he did. And wasn't it an unequivocal fact that he beat on his wife?
According to his mom and other people around him,
and his wife. Didn't his wife?
I don't know if his wife came out publicly and said that. I know they have like 7 kids, and he's cheated on her multiple times.
Who? Oh my God. Has that been proven? Like, did she even come out and admit that?
I don't think so. Only his mom, like, wrote.
Maybe she wants his money, and now she wants his position, so she's going to shut up.
Yeah, he's in a very public position. Yeah.
I cannot believe he got confirmed. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. First of all, who's fucking these people? So they all have so many kids. The first time somebody puts their hand on me or cheats on me, they are out. I don't care how rich they are. So who is fucking these people? Who is fucking the MTGs? Who's fucking Don? Who's fucking, these, Elania? Like, they have so many kids. I just want to know who finds them sexy. Cause
did you see the
I have a real problem with these people.
Melania and her, like,
Elania or Melania?
Melania.
The actual Melania?
The actual Melania came.
I didn't watch it. I don't know what she looked like.
It was so good. She looked like
a cat.
Like some British spy or something, but her hat had this huge rim around it, and you can barely see her face with her sunglasses, and Donald goes to kiss her, and he can't get under her hat to kiss her, so they just do a... And I think it was on purpose that she wore the hat to block
as
him.
a cock blocker.
And I think it was the Daily Show or whatever, and they were like, that's one border wall he's not getting across.
No, I didn't see anything.
It was really good. I was watching the inauguration, and I'm like, is that Melania?
But she's on for the ride, just like Hegsworth's wife or whatever, I guess. But the guy's a complete fucking scumbag. And what I would think of as a loser. Only a loser would beat on his wife. Only a loser would continue to cheat and do the things that people have said. People in his own orbit, his mom, everybody else said, hey, yeah, he's that guy. The fact that guy got confirmed. Clarence Thomas to the Supreme Court. He should have never got confirmed. Who's the other guy? Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
Come on.
And Amy Coney Barrett. She has always been, staunchly pro-life, and she has very, like, right-wing views, and you're supposed to be impartial.
Right. So, that's a valid thing. But I'm talking about actual crimes.
Melania.
Okay, let's see. Wow.
That
is not a picture of love.
No.
And, okay, can we, I don't understand how they being trumpets can look at this guy and be like, yeah, he's gonna this guy's got so much foundation on and so much fake hair. He might as well be a drag queen. Like, what is going on?
It's spray tans. It has to be like.
Well, he's got foundation because that comes up. That's in that picture you just showed me. You can see where it's not blended well, like, around his collar. Neck. Yeah. And you can't get that close to clothing or it'll stain it.
Yeah.
And then you got Elania.
Or you could be Rudy Giuliani and your hair starts bleeding.
The stain in your hair starts bleeding. To me, but who's effing these people and who's still voting for these people? That's what I don't get. So this guy gets confirmed, right? Clarence Thomas many years ago gets confirmed. The Kavanaugh gets confirmed. Did all of Trump's picks get confirmed except for Matt Gaetz?
Yes.
What's been on my mind now? Do you know about the Karen Reed trial?
We have talked about that. Surviving the Survivor.
Oh yeah, it's a podcast I listen to that's really, really good, by the way. We'll talk about that offline. A plug to Surviving the Survivor, which is riveting. And I think Joel is probably the best podcast host I've ever listened to. I bought his book. Really, really recommend it if you're a true crime fan. They have gone into such detail about some of the most incredible and also very disturbing stories in true crime. Dan Markel, Karen Reed, Ellen Greenberg. So Karen Reed, basically, this woman a couple of years ago was accused of killing her boyfriend, right? I knew nothing about it until I started listening to this podcast. I had thought that it was just because you hear like bits and pieces, and I thought this. I was okay. Yeah, she killed. I killed him. the more I hear, the more insane it gets. There is no way this woman killed this guy. This is, in my opinion, a cover-up and a conspiracy in a town that is riddled with lies and conspiracy and corruption. And it's in Canton, Massachusetts. Have you heard of Canton, Massachusetts?
From you.
Oh, okay. Because Karen Reed is not the first problem they've had. So, and like the trumpets and in our government and in certain police forces, right? All over our country, there's so much corruption and there's so much, is it conspiracy? I mean, no, I mean, there's so much corruption. There's a conspiracy, but
it's a cabal.
It's what?
A cabal of people in power who are using their power for their own good.
Cabal. I like that word of the day. Cabal.
Cabal.
Okay, that's it. So that's what's happening. And it's becoming just like all these crazies getting appointed to positions that they shouldn't be in. It's becoming commonplace. We have a criminal in the White House. So we can have criminals here. You can get voted. You can do almost anything and still be able to run for office or go into a position of power if you have the right connections, or hold that power if you have the right connections. And that's what I think happened in Canton, Massachusetts, which this person, Karen Reed, is being, in my opinion, framed. And she actually went to trial once. There was all these, like, it seemed like the judge was kind of favoring the prosecution. So that's another thing. Like, if our criminal justice system isn't just, and our Supreme Court is corrupt. We have two people in the Supreme Court that, you know, were sexual abusers or got accused of it or potentially did it more than once, and they still got on, and they're not aligned and not honoring their vow to be impartial. So what does that say about America in general? Like, what does that say about our country? Our criminal justice system is more broken than ever. Places are more corrupt and having more cabals than ever. Our government is being infiltrated with people that are a part of all these problems in our society more than ever. What do we do?
But speaking of Clarence Thomas, you had Anita Hill, who was very brave and came out and said...
So did the Kavanaugh one.
Yeah. But we're talking about years and years ago, way before Me Too. And Joe Biden was the one who ripped her to pieces and said she was lying.
I know. I remember that.
So we've always had these people, and Joe Biden also has his own sexual assault claims against him.
This is not an
Nancy Pelosi
Trump
said, "Don't tell me about Me Too. I
Nancy
have
Pelosi's another one.
2 daughters. Don't tell me about Me Too." But if it was about Trump, it would have been automatically believed. It's like the Democrats will protect their own, just like Republicans try to protect their own.
That's the problem that I have with the Democrats now. Like Karen Bass, who's the mayor of LA, who's like a total, like, worthless, useless fool.
Yeah.
She, you know, they're asking her, like, why weren't you here for the fires? Why weren't you doing more? Why weren't you prepared for this? Why did you say you were never going to go abroad? And here you've taken 5 trips already. And during the time of the LA fires, you're in Africa. Lady, what's wrong with you? And she brings up Elon Musk. Why? Okay. Yeah. He sucks. I'm not a fan. I am sick of his ass, but this is about truth and honesty and transparency. This isn't about party. I think that's where the rub is. People are bringing up party when it's not about parties. Just why don't you do your job, bitch? So there's no way to stop them, right?
Again, that's what I was saying. So like party protects party, and they don't, like, RFK is not even popular, but Trump nominated him, so they will do what he says.
It's crazy. And even like, I have a feeling all these people can say, hey, well, I have kids and so and so. Josh Shapiro has 4 daughters. When he was spewing those lies about Ellen Greenberg, he's like, look, as a father of 4, I don't give a fuck if you're a father of 14.
Yeah.
If you're doing the wrong thing, you're a bad role model. You're still a liar. You're still corrupt. You're still covering something up. Everybody uses, I think, religion and like the fact that they're a father or a mother as like a shield. That doesn't make you a good person because you can come in somebody and have a kid.
Yeah. What was it? Ted Cruz, back when Texas had that big freeze and he
was on his way to Mexico.
A tropical vacation. Yeah. And he blamed his daughter. He was like, his daughter, he promised her and she wouldn't, like, take no for an answer.
And stupid people probably be like, oh, he's being a good dad. It's like,
they always try to play that card, blame your kid, blame your wife.
Yeah. They use it as a beard. They use it as a shield, and I'm sick of it. people can be evil and still have kids.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know? So back to the Karen Reed thing. So after I'd initially thought, okay, just another person that kills their significant other, that is not what happened. I truly believe, based on all the evidence, right, that she's framed, that there is a conspiracy in Canton, and there's a bunch of scumbags that are in and around the Canton Police Department and that work for the Commonwealth that are covering it up.
You don't want to give away too much, but I remember when you were telling me before, one of the biggest details was she was stabbed.
Oh, no, that's Ellen Greenberg.
Oh, Ellen Greenberg. Okay.
Okay, so Josh Shapiro, the governor, the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania, was spewing so much lies at this press conference that had nothing to do with Ellen, but a reporter was cool enough to ask. And they can't keep going back and forth with lies because then they'll get cut off and kicked out. So he just kept it very simple and asked about Ellen. And then Josh was spewing all these lies. And then the reporter let him speak and then said, right, but the medical examiner changed his ruling finally back to that it was not a unaliving, that
because she was stabbed post mortem.
He didn't get into the detail, but he changed. Well, he didn't actually say that. He changed it based on 4 different facts that he had learned after the fact, which is not necessarily true, and that's why he said he changed his ruling. But she was stabbed 20 times. 1 or more were post-mortem. So she would have had to stab herself when she was already dead. Many of the stab marks were in her back and in her neck and in the back of her head. So she's a pretty girl, by the way. What pretty girl do you know chooses to unalive herself by stabbing herself to death, which is so painful?
And to the more than one stab in the back, for yourself, I could maybe one you can get in, but after that,
or stick the knife in your jugular. Yeah. You know what I mean? But she all the evidence, it's so crazy to even think it, because all of the evidence points to the fact that she was
common
murdered.
Sense points to the fact.
And who she was murdered by. But we're not going to say that right now, because the person she was living with at the time, who should have been the number one suspect, there's a 911 call that was absolutely ridiculous. His powerful family was given access to the crime scene, and they had a professionally cleaned by a crime scene cleaning service. They took the victim's laptop and phone. They took all of this evidence with them.
Yeah.
And so when they initially ruled it as a homicide, within these couple of days where they're taking all the evidence and having access to people and having access to the crime scene, there was a closed door meeting where they changed the matter of death from homicide to an unaliving. So
even with the stabbing the way it was.
Yeah. So not only did they not collect any evidence, they gave a separate party who should have had no claim to that evidence full access to all that evidence. So it's no investigation, botched crime scene, switched decision, and giving potentially suspects access to everything, including the crime scene itself, including all of the electronic data. It's just so insane. But what's even more insane is the Karen Reed case, where it actually went to trial, and it almost was like a hung jury, but the jury got hung up on some of the descriptions of how to come to a decision. They'd actually acquitted her on 2 of the 3 charges, but didn't know that they could do that without acquitting her on all 3. So this has been something that's been going back and forth. They're going to retry her. Taxpayers are actually going to have to pay even more money for the second trial because they hired a different attorney to represent the Commonwealth. And the attorney's a scumbag. Everything about how he works a case makes me sick. But basically, even in his own digging into the evidence, it's found out that they gave wrong information. They tampered with video. They didn't turn over cell phones. They destroyed cell phones. They destroyed evidence. They moved. They rehomed a dog that potentially was a part of the crime. They did all these things, and it's still going to trial. and she's still being accused of murder. I mean, these people that are so corrupt could take away somebody's freedom.
Yeah.
So the federal government, unbeknownst to any of the jurors in the last Karen Reed trial, was investigating some of the people in this case. Some of the people that are...
So they were involved. Usually,
but they couldn't divulge that because that's how corrupt it,
yes.
you know? But now...
especially if it's someone higher up, like we were saying before, this is some kind of cabal with
100%.
your top people, Shapiro, whatever, involved.
That's the Ellen Greenberg. You're complaining
I know.
cases, yeah. No, but these are people that are embedded and ingrained and have a history in the Massachusetts police system. So, like, the guy who got killed was a cop. He was found in the front yard of another cop. So the cop investigating it, who is friends with the cop inside the house, when asked, hey, so he's going to see some shit for this, huh? Oh, no, he's not. He's a cop too, so we're not going to even investigate. They all protect each other. You know, and that's a problem because what's happening now in both parties, Democratic and Republican, they're becoming just like the police departments of so many states in our nation where they're so corrupt and no matter what, they're going to back the blue, baby, even if they're wrong. What's happening now is it's to the detriment of, number one, this person's freedom and to our just society, but also the guy who was killed was a cop. I personally think that they beat him up and they threw his body out.
And probably didn't want to keep lying for them.
And it was so easy to frame this girl because she was driving drunk and they had all been out drinking together. Yeah. And the wives of all these people are all in on it. There was like 17 or so butt dials that night where they were, you know, the attorneys are saying, why are you calling this person at 2 a.m? Why are you doing this? Why are you searching how long to die in the cold? How long to die in the snow? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing all these things throughout the middle of the night? Oh, that was a butt dial. Oh, that was an accidental Google. They're coming up with the craziest explanations and it's all of them. So if it happened once, if it happened twice, if it happened with just like a couple of people, it's one thing. But to me, it was like across the board, there seemed to be not one scintilla of evidence that showed that this woman really did kill her boyfriend. And yet all this other evidence is showing that something happened, and it's very likely it happened in that house because they also got rid of the carpet. They also rehomed their dog. They did all of these things. Yeah. They sold the house too. I don't think they live in the same house. I mean, it's like anything and everything that could possibly be done. They not only destroyed their cell phones the day before a protection order, but they actually, one of the people who I think was actually involved made it a point to destroy his cell phone, not get it, because he's like, oh, I got a new cell phone. I'm like, well, why did you destroy it? They're like, why did you destroy it then? And destroy the SIM card. And you did it on an army base where the police wouldn't have jurisdiction to get a search warrant. Like he drove to an army base and destroyed his phone, like obliterated his phone. Why would anybody do that who's innocent?
How do they know? They tracked the last location of the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
We could be going on for days, but if our own justice system is broken, like you said, at the higher echelon areas of the government, how are we supposed to say, hey, Canton, we're going to prove that you guys are scumbags and potentially murderers, and everybody involved is going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, whether you're an accessory or whether you're covering up or whether you perjured yourself, because there's about a dozen people at least that perjured themselves and they know it.
Yeah.
So what do we do though if we have the Clarence Thomases and the Kavanaughs of the world and even the Don Trumps of the world and the Hagsworths of the world that are not good people that have been convicted of crimes or accused of crimes and are still in these high positions of is it piousness and power? I don't know. High positions of power and ability to make change, authority. And they're supposed to be the ones that are saying, here's the right thing in the end, here's the right way to go.
What worries me most is our standing on the world stage, how this makes us look to other countries and leaders like Putin, who we have nothing to say to.
No, I agree with that too, but everyday Americans, I think that one of the many reasons why Democrats lost this last election is that same thinking though. Everybody's worried about the rest of the world. What about our own problems? What about our veterans? What about our homelessness here? What about crime, immigration, right? But I'm worried about people should be worried about what I think as a very proud American.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Who has every right to be here, unquestionable. You know what I mean? Like, what do I think? You know, what do you think? People like Don and everybody else that's voted for him and his sycophants, I want them to realize what we think matters because we're here and we're worried about America. I'm not even worried about Putin or what the world thinks of us anymore because we are so damaged. I'm worried about what I think. And I'm not feeling patriotic at all. I'm feeling like we're no better than anybody else, so who are we to judge? That's a big problem for me because I never felt that way in my life.
And I feel like it has strains in nationalism, but nationalism isn't necessarily bad. It's not like protectionism. We want to cut ourselves off from the rest of the world, but we want to make our own country better before we ship off billions of dollars worth of weapons to Ukraine for them to fight a war that we shouldn't be involved in. And it comes to caring about your own country first. And Trump knows how to pull those cords. Like I was saying with the immigrants before, it's like, that is the scapegoat. That is what the issue is. And if you want to protect the nation, if you want to make America great again, you have to get rid of all the immigrants. That will fix the problem. That's not it. I
don't think that's it either. And by the way, I don't think he'll ever be able to accomplish that.
America would be effed royally. Like the billions of dollars a year that are GDP gains because of having this immigrant workforce that is willing to do jobs Americans don't want to do. Like we talked about before, I can't imagine the cost of produce, what that would be. It's already expensive enough.
It's going to keep going up. Oh, that's another thing. All this stuff, the prices are only going to go up. Trump, I almost guarantee, just like that other stuff I guarantee that the price of stuff will either be the same or get higher.
Especially if his
guaranteed. And I don't know shit about anything. Okay, I don't know shit about politics, but I do have a brain and I do have common sense.
Yeah,
and I can I can guarantee it. I will bet on it right now. It's just going to keep going up. It's not going to go down.
No, and the more that mergers now are approved, I already saw Spirit is going to try again. It was blocked last time for JetBlue to buy them out because it was like a low cost. But there would be no more low cost option for people anymore. That
and it'll continue to make it a world and an America where if you are at the very top, you will stay at the top and will gain momentum exponentially.
Our
and
wealth
gain
gap
wealth
getting bigger.
Exponentially, whereas the middle and certainly the bottom will continue to be downtrodden and will continue to be held down in a way that is disproportionate and will I personally think that we will have a recession in the next couple of years, if not sooner than that.
It's very possible.
Because all of these things at play are big things. These mergers, these tariffs, these crazy people in high-level positions are going to cause so much damage that an economy responds eventually. And I don't think it's going to be good.
One of the biggest things is the ability for our generations to build wealth, and the way you build wealth is through property ownership. We can't buy places. We're going to be in a permanent renters class because we've allowed giant investment firms like BlackRock to buy up houses cash. So they can offer above price, buy that house. You can't even get a mortgage, and good luck with your interest rate right now. And then you're stuck renting places for the rest of your life. So you will never build wealth.
This may be a good time for our hate-spiration, which we always try to talk about. Any episode, even as dark as this one has gotten, I want to have a hate-spiration so that out of hate comes something that's less bleak, that is going to give us some hope. And for me, I don't know about you, but I love Alania, the name Alania. I think out of his rise to power, I guess, and rise to the top of our political and governmental structure, somehow Elon Musk is up there, which I can't believe because I cannot stand him now. And by the way, I had no problem with him before. The fact that everybody's calling him Elania and that people are saying, I can't wait to pull the plugs out of his hair. And like, I can't, you know what I mean? Like there's so much like hate for him because he's such an a-hole. Like that gives me hope that there's still some good people out there that have some fight left in them. And the other hate-spiration to me, would be, I think Democrats in general need to learn so much from this last election and realize that there's some people like a Pelosi that I don't think is going to be good for the Democratic Party, and someone like a Bernie Sanders who I think will be great for the Democratic Party. And the other 70 and 80-year-olds that are now running committees, no, girl, wrong direction. I think all of these defeats the past couple of months should inspire them to, number one, be recruiting more celebrities. There are some great celebrities that are Democrats that would be great.
Yeah.
Because the world of the new politician is now. There's no such thing as like the old school politician anymore. You gotta be something a little bit more. It's 2025. You gotta have some genesis.
You gotta offer something to the people.
Something amazing about you. You could be an influencer. You know, Democrats have got to, I think, seize this opportunity to completely blow up how they think about winning future elections. And if they do these things, if they hire more celebrities, literally recruit celebrities, if they hire more young people, if they hire more good-looking people with some charisma, you know, the attractiveness principle goes a long way. You're looking at somebody haggard who says, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go in," or you're looking at somebody with like something, and even if it's nice eyes or nice hair or they just look good, dude, you're going to like them a little bit more, and you're going to trust that they're going to come in and do all those things, because at the end of the day, most people lie anyways. You're looking for the worst offender, you know, like the least hanging fruit. Go for what you know will win. Good looking celebrities, people with a lot of influence, a lot of clout that can like really like be magnetic. You know, that's the kind of people. No career politicians. Get rid of all the 70 and 80-year-olds. Sorry, you've been
time to pass the baton.
Pass the baton, girl. Like, come on. There's one in particular, Maxine Waters, who I think is amazing. She's so great, but come on, girl. Pass the baton to some. Have we learned nothing from Biden not coming out of the race sooner? And saying, I'm going to protect my legacy. I'm good. I did what I needed to do. Let's have a convention and just duke it out. You know, they learn nothing from that. Because everybody, even Democrats, they just want to hold on to that power until they drop dead. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She held on. I think she's great. She has such a strong legacy. She was amazing in so many ways. And an icon in so many ways. But had she retired sooner, like maybe wouldn't be in this mess. You know, a part of it started like that was the beginning of the end for our American justice, you know?
And they are appointed for life. There's no term limits on them.
Oh, totally. And like Amy Comet or whatever her name is,
both of them are young.
She's kind of young.
They're going to have like 40 years at least.
60 maybe? I don't know. Like, I don't know how old they are.
But I think he's in his 50s.
Yeah. They're not that old, you know? When did she pass?
Ruling America
she was
for
89?
Yeah.
Right. Right now, our current president, because of hatred, because of division, he's going to be in his 80s. Who knows how long he has, you know? We shouldn't be having people that are in their 80s leading our country.
Definitely.
This is not a country of just 80-year-old people. It's about the future. It's about everybody, of course.
Once they have power, they don't want to let it go.
Exactly. It's about greed and corruption. Just like it is in Canton. Just like it is in Pennsylvania with Ellen Greenberg and Karen Reed. And promise me we can talk more about both those things in the next episode.
Yes.
What's your hate-spiration?
Well, real quick, I wanted to say what was funny about what you're saying about the looks go a long way is after the Luigi Mangione, after he committed murder in broad daylight, shocked the world. The first thing the news was talking about was
how good looking
he was, showing pictures of him like on a vacation, shirtless, like all gawking.
I love that.
At him. And it's like, I've never heard like people talk about a murderer this way.
It's been a couple of months. I do not know what's going on with Louis Mangione. What's the
investigations? He's going to be tried. You know, they're gathering.
He's still in prison?
Yeah, he's still in prison.
And are most people still like, F U.S. healthcare, F that CEO, like everybody.
Most
still
people are still on his side. Yes.
See, so now
because it's like you killed someone, but you killed a killer who gets away with killing. So it's hard to feel like real empathy for the person. Like obviously,
but isn't that horrible though? Like
But it's just so weird that this issue, like, because healthcare
Well, because
in the
of
country is
greed.
privatized, and
Right.
this greed, and people die every single day. You know someone who can't afford their meds.
And the guy
Can't afford
did it
their insurance.
deliberately. He knew people were
Yes.
dying, and he would still be denying, and figure out ways to deny.
So he can make more money.
So yeah, you're killing that guy. Do I feel bad for that CEO? I don't. I'm sorry. I know
Murder is wrong, yes, but
murder is wrong, but do I feel bad for him? No, I don't. Do I feel bad for Luigi? Weirdly, kind of. I do.
I know, it's such a weird
even though murder
way,
is wrong.
yeah.
Because, you know why? It's because we have Clarence Thomas, and we have Don Trump, and we have Heggsworth, or whatever, and we have RFK. Because our world is so insane, it has flipped the script. And
Yep.
now anything goes. You know what? I don't believe that murder is okay. But I didn't believe it when the CEO was doing it tacitly for years and
Yep.
profiting from it. So
profiting from murder.
do I think that you reap what you sow? Maybe.
I think that's the best way to say it. I don't think anyone deserves to be killed, whatever. But do you reap what you sow? Their actions have consequences.
So is your hate-spiration Luigi Mangione related? Kind of?
I had a hate-spiration, and then when you said the attractiveness thing, and that popped into my head of like CNN, the reporter being like, talking about his abs.
What?
Like the murderer's abs.
The reporter was?
The reporter was, yes. They're showing his
Are they
vacation
nice? Are they
picture.
good abs? Like, does he have a good body? I don't know. I didn't see the
I mean,
shirtless photo.
yeah, he's fit. He's muscular, you know, he looked decent, but it's like,
No, that goes a
Why?
long way, though. I'm sure he's probably
Yes.
getting like marriage requests and
I
like
can't even
conjugal
imagine, yeah.
visit requests in prison. I don't know if they'll allow that, but I'm sure
and a
like,
lot of
his
high fives
dating
from
is
other
gonna-
prisoners, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
100%.
sure
He's a
popular
celebrity in
politically.
there.
Yeah.
He's a celebrity there. So maybe that's your inspiration, that there is justice for Luigi. I'm sure
Actually,
that's got to be
something
a
we
thing
missed.
at
My
this point.
inspiration will be our voting system, because I have the ranked choice
Oh, the
voting.
ranked choice,
So
okay.
it's in 64 different districts. There is ranked choice voting. Some of jurisdictions, sorry. Some of the biggest are Alaska, Foley, Maine, New York City, Cambridge, Massachusetts, Minneapolis, and San Francisco are 6 of the biggest places where ranked choice voting is in. I think ranked choice voting, and then once we get a few more states to ratify the popular vote, the electoral college won't matter anymore. Like, once we have enough states that ratify this, I think we need 35, there will be enough delegates to overpower the electoral college. So no matter what, whoever wins the popular vote will be the winner.
I hope that's not just a pipe dream that ends up happening. Is that really like a thing?
Let me see how many states are currently signed
Because I
on.
just read something that actually, because of all of the votes that were purged and all of the ones that were disqualified, Democratic votes, I will say, that they actually got rid of somewhere between 4.2, they being like the people in charge of elections and potentially the Republican Party, 4.2 to 4.7 million votes that would have gone Democratic. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. And
By the way, I don't know if
the
all
way
that's true, but
it's
that's
because
such a huge thing.
gerrymandering and the way that districts are drawn out. So you give power to wealthier, whiter districts and lower amount of delegate counts to poorer people of color districts.
Wow. I mean, no, I was mind blowing. I mean, I believe that's true. Like, look, if Trump can be our president again, and Heggsworth can lead the FBI, and Clarence Thomas can get on the Supreme Court, and look, anything goes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just gotten Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, who runs the WWE, the World Wrestling, like the absolute fakest thing in the world, is now going to be the head of our education department.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, by the way, she's a billionaire too. They're all like super rich, and they're all old. Like, I don't think Heggsworth's old. He's younger for sure. But wasn't he like a Fox News host?
He was, yes. And
Right.
he was routinely drunk on Fox News. His colleagues said he was drunk. You could tell he was drunk. And he threw an axe in, was it Central Park? They were having an outside axe throwing competition on Fox News, because I guess that's what they do.
Wow.
And he totally missed the board and threw it past and hit this drummer dude. Thankfully, he didn't get hit with the axe. His drum
Wow.
did. But yeah, he was drunk and throwing axes.
Wow, what a loser.
In Times Square, sorry, not Central Park, in Times Square. Back to the...
now, is he good looking?
I guess if you're into
that hesitation. Okay, see? So there's because he's on the news, so I have to say, okay, he's got some appeal. Like either he has a big following or his mom was in the news.
This is Pete Hegseth.
Now his face looks a little like disproportionate, like there's something wrong there, but I can see how.
And he is definitely built.
He's got a good body.
Yes.
So see, there's some appeal there. Like he's a scumbag, obviously. Matt Gaetz is a piece of shit and a scumbag, but he's not a bad looking guy.
He looks a little weird now with his eyebrow thing. He kind of looks like the Grinch. I don't know what he did.
And he wears makeup.
Yeah, I think he got Botox and stuff.
I just don't understand why all these people are so anti-trans and gay when they exhibit all of those attributes. But no, I can see. So, and Trump, by the way, Trump likes good looking. He likes good looking and he likes powerful.
Did you see his press secretary?
No.
Little blonde girl. Pretty blonde is his new press secretary.
His last one was blonde, but she wasn't pretty.
That was Kellyanne Conway.
No, not Kellyanne Conjob. There was a little McEnany or something.
Oh, yes.
She was blonde, but not pretty. And Kellyanne obviously is the opposite of pretty. But this one is actually pretty?
Yes.
Yeah, look,
you
he likes
can tell
pretty people.
Trump handpicked her.
Democrats, take notice. Celebrities and pretty people. Okay? Because that's a winning combination.
Last point about the Electoral College, I looked it up, and what's needed is 270 total electoral votes for it to take effect. It currently has 209, so it just needs 61 more. So just a few more states, and the states that already have, California was one of the first in 2011, and the most recent was Maine in 2024. Their last election, they voted to go with the popular vote.
But what happens if all of like the super Republican like mainstays like Texas and Florida and Alabama and whatever the hell?
So we just need enough. We need 61 more.
And that overrules that basically marginalizes them.
Exactly.
Ooh.
It puts power back into individual voters' hands. So your vote, no matter where you are, counts towards the election versus what happened with Hillary and Donald, where she won by more than 1 million votes, but still he won.
I thought it was election. Like 3 million.
It was like I think it was like 2.1 or 2.3 million votes.
You gotta have people that are likable too. Like I wasn't a big,
no.
Compared to Donald Trump, I love Hillary, but I was not a big Hillary fan. I was not a big Biden fan, and I'm not
She was against
Kamala
gays when it was time.
We could be no, this is a whole nother episode.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, no, I'm not, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's time for Democrats to learn. This is a learning opportunity. It's a painful one, but it's a learning opportunity. You know, let's do this thing, man, and truly have a better country. Like I would say, like make America great again, but I'm starting to wonder when America was really all that great.
Yeah.
Because we've had some massively shitty times in America, and it's been really cruel for a huge number of people for so long that unless you're like really rich and white and established.
Well, that is the point.
Was it ever great for you?
That's the point of the Electoral College. No, please. Grew up always without health care. Like in Florida, where they didn't expand Medicare and Medicaid.
No, I mean in general, like if you're not rich and white, like was it ever great for you as an American? Like,
no.
You were answering it actually from your
personal experience. Yeah. No, this country, it's always been
it's
like
a struggle.
How people are like, oh, come to America for a better life. It's like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like
I'm from America,
like, this is
and
America.
it's not all that. Yeah.
It's like,
but I guess like compared to like where they're from, it's really heinous and whatever. Like, yeah, okay, we're the lesser of two evils, but I don't know. I used to be so patriotic, and I'm just not feeling it. And maybe that's how we can leave this. Like, if anybody's got any like words of wisdom, how we stay patriotic with all this shit, please let us know. Love you. We read and have a brain, and we don't get our news on Facebook. But most people are dumb, and although we don't claim to know much of anything, we have common sense and a little street smarts. And these are just our opinions based on what we know. Despite that, we have to make exuberantly clear that this is just entertainment and maybe a little bit of therapy for us. So everything we say is alleged times 10 all the way every day.